I'd like to call to order the February 17th meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Westborough. My name is Hazel Nurse. I'm the chairman of the board. To my far left is Jenny Gingrich, who is our town planner. Carolyn Regan is next to her. Christina Kelleher to my far left. John Gelsich on my right, and Anne Marie Decker to my far right, who is administrative assistant. John Pizzoni's not here tonight. Hopefully he's at a nice warm place where he's having vacation. Before we start, I'd like to, Christina Kelleher is asked to make a short statement concerning our meeting at the beginning of February.
Thank you, Hazel. I appreciate that. I'd just like to, before we begin our agenda, just want to briefly address something on the record that came up at our last meeting. Public participation is a really important part of our work. Obviously, we really value hearing a range of perspectives. My own perspectives are what made me want to be a member of the planning board. At the same time, though, it's really important that our discussions on both sides of the table really remain respectful and focused on the matters before us. I wanted to actually express support for my fellow board member, John Gelsich. John consistently approaches this role with professionalism and real commitment to our town. I believe his and really the whole board's intent is always to ensure a fair and orderly process. As with any decision or discussion, it can be really challenging to try to fully understand ongoing wishes of the members of the town. And we try very hard to do so, of course, as members of the town ourselves. We all have strong opinions, or we wouldn't be here, us and for the members who attend the meetings. As a board, we are always open to improving how we communicate. And we really do welcome feedback when it's shared constructively. And I know that there has been a number of attempts to make discussions more transparent across all the boards within our town. But at the same time, I surely hope that comments remain really focused on issues before us and are delivered with respect. That's all. So with that in mind, look forward to a productive and respectful conversation meeting tonight. Thank you, Hazel. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We have two public hearings tonight. The first one is on a property located at 1 Research Drive. In accordance with MGL Chapter 40A, Section 5, the Westborough Planning Board is opening a public hearing this evening, Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. at the Forbes Municipal Building, 45 West Main Street, regarding a proposed amendment to the zoning map. The proposal would rezone assessor parcels 35-167-0 and 35-167A-0, also known as 1 Research Drive, from the Industrial B District and Industrial D Overlay District to the Highway Business District. The proposed zoning article is expected to appear on the warrant for the March 21st, 2026 annual town meeting. All right, I think the applicant is here if you'd like to give us a short presentation. And if you would introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, good evening, Madam Chair. My name is George Bonan. I'm here on behalf of Ferris Development Group, and with me to my, oh, sorry, was that?
Someone that.
Go ahead. We were just
sorry,
hearing,
we're just listening to the applicant. I heard someone in the background speaking. I would hope that you'd give the courtesy of letting the applicant give his presentation.
Thank you. I'll start over quickly. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is George Bonan. I'm here on behalf of Ferris Development Group. And with me tonight, to my left, is the company's principal, David Ferris. Before I begin, Madam Chair, would you like an elevator pitch or maybe something that's a little lengthier for,
I guess since we do have people here in the audience tonight, why don't you go ahead and give us a little more information than you would have otherwise?
absolutely. And let me see.
That's just the pointer.
That's just a pointer. Jenny, could I ask you to go to, is that page 3? That's the one, thank you. So we are here requesting a rezoning of One Research Drive from Industrial B and the Industrial D Overlay District to the Highway Business Zoning District. So uses like retail, restaurant, exercise and wellness, and multifamily can be considered. The type of mix that increases vibrancy, supports office tenancy, and strengthens the tax base. The hearing is on a zoning map amendment. We are not seeking site plan approval, special permit approval, or project level relief tonight. The question is whether the zoning on this specific parcel should be updated to better match the town's corridor planning goals and economic realities of office parks. Office demand has changed materially. Single-use office parks face long-term vacancy, risk without amenities and activity. Underutilized property creates pressure on assessed values and the tax base over time. A mixed-use environment helps create a place that supports office tenants and encourages reinvestment. Highway business, which is the zoning district that we're seeking to be rezoned to, is designed for corridor appropriate uses and flexibility along Route 9, where One Research Drive is located. It allows a broader range of neighborhood serving commercial uses like retail, restaurant, fitness, and residential. Those uses can increase day and evening activity, strengthen occupancy in existing buildings, and support a stronger local tax base. The concept plan, which is shown in the shown right behind you, it depicts a plan that consists of 4 5-story buildings, 63 units each, totaling 252 residential units, and further totaling 372 bedrooms. The residential buildings are they're internal to the site, located around the more highly elevated parking areas on the site. There are 2 commercial buildings adjacent to the street frontage intended for retail, restaurant, or exercise and wellness use. The layout places active commercial uses at the street and sets residential uses back within the site. Should the board choose to endorse the rezoning of One Research Drive, it just offers zoning flexibility, and the town does not lose control over how the property or the buildings can be designed. Any future project would return for a full permitting process, including traffic, utilities, stormwater design, and public safety review. The board retains the ability to evaluate design, buffering, circulation, and appropriate mitigation at the project stage. So in closing, we respectfully ask the board to take public comment, and if the board is satisfied, to close the hearing with a favorable recommendation at town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? Jenny, they had a one-stop meeting and talked to the town at all about this?
We haven't had a one-stop meeting specifically about this, no. We don't know project details yet because this is just about the zoning at this time.
Okay. Caroline, do you have any comments or questions?
Not at the moment.
Chris?
My only comment is I'm excited to see, I'm excited to potentially see just different uses along Route 9. That's all. No questions, though.
No comments or questions.
Okay. I mean, I generally agree with Chris on this and the fact that I think that this is a piece of property that could be used for other than commercial development, office park, which is essentially what it's been used for at this particular time. I think that we do have to look at more flexible zoning in our community and use of parcels which could be rezoned for different uses. If this had a mixed use, which could be residential, could be commercial, a combined development, I think would be of benefit to the town. It obviously would help the tax base, and I think that it is the type of use that we look for in vacant parcels or parcels that are not being used. This one is presently a parking lot, so it is not being used for anything other than parking, and to be able to use a piece like this for benefit of the town, I think might make a difference. So I would like to endorse this particular change in zoning. Since this is a public hearing, I will open it to any comment.
Sorry, I
yes,
just
go
have
ahead.
one other thing. I know too, not for this in particular, this space in particular, but it's especially with all of the with the school redistricting. We have potentially several hundred new housing units that we may have within the next 3 to 5 years-ish. I do think as a board, thinking about kind of the speed to development is maybe, I don't know how we think about that or consider that, but as we're looking to adjust some of the zoning, I do think just being cognizant of like if you have 5 large apartment buildings that are like being completed at the same time, it's a large influx to our infrastructure, potentially our schools. So I would just say that as well, I think, for consideration.
The one comment I would have in addition to that, or comment to that, is that this project, or if a project of this type goes forward, as well as another one we're looking at Route 9, are rental projects. These are looking to house people for a year, year and a half rental. These are not going to impact, from the information that we have had, this is not going to impact our school district in a way that would be detrimental to the costs that we have at this point with our schools. So I think people have to remember this. We're not looking at houses where people are going to have 2 or 3 children. These are more rentals. These are short-term. The people are coming in. Generally, it's focused on younger people that are coming into the area to work in the biotech area or in other businesses around. So I think that's something that people need to think about. I know that as soon as a project occurs or a project is brought forth to the community, people scream schools. The cost that it's going to be the schools, the addition of people to the schools. But these are not the type of units, these are not single-family dwellings or townhouses or garden apartments that we're looking at. These are rental units. So I think people need to balance this and think about approach it with the benefits to the community. This would be bringing people into the community. I think one of the things that I look at is how do we develop our community with a mixed people, a mixed population. And one of the things is that in units like this that are coming in, this is a way for people that would help to grow our community, because hopefully these would be people that would rent. They'd be here for a year and a half. Then they would look to move into the community, to become part of our community, then buy a house and do that. And then that would be help with our housing stock, which we have vacant housing stock at this point. So I think there are a number of things to balance in this particular way, and you really need to look at these.
I agree, and I definitely agree as we looked at, I guess, the potential, some of the like Route 9 properties aside, because I agree. We don't know at this point if we're rezoning it, if it's 2 and 3 beds, you know, who knows? I guess not even just the schools, just thinking about, you know, we have large projects, the Otis Street project is about to be happening. We have our large, like, infrastructure projects also. So just like, what does that impact when we have more people in a like a faster rate? That's all.
Yes, Mr.
And
Ferris.
if I may, Hazel, thank you for your comments. I think you're picking up, Christina, on something that's very important in every community, which is the sizing of these units. And I think Hazel picked up on the other point, which is the rental component. I think those are always things that we would look to work with the town before we'd ever even get an approval. And that, frankly, would dovetail nicely in terms of your broader plan and the approval you gave next door, which arguably is going to probably be the biggest taxable project in the community, upwards of $750 million to $1 billion, that lab life science project, when and if it comes out of the ground. The first thing that a tenant who decides to build there is going to look at is there adequate nearby housing for their young professional lab people that want to occupy that building? And so in some ways, this is planting a seed that'll hopefully help attract that $1 billion investment that you've already approved, and that unfortunately right now life science is a little bit weak, but that is the direct neighbor to this parcel and the direct abutter. We actually sold that developer the in-between piece in the back to facilitate that prior to the crane company buying. But long story short is I think that young urban professionals that could rent in this location and enjoy, you know, retail amenities in this area, I don't think it's really an us kind of win. I think it really is a community win in terms of all of the office parks tenants on that road ultimately benefit in terms of being able to go out and get some lunch. I mean, one of the things, if you look at our Southborough project and how that entire office park and the other owner that owns 3 of the 5 buildings, we own 2 in Southborough and Route 9, what happened was our 2 buildings that had been vacant to the tune of 80%, and the neighbor who had suffered with tremendous vacancy, basically his occupancy and ours within 18 months went to 90 to 100%. As soon as we added health and wellness concepts like B-Tone and Fresh Monkey, you know, protein drink company, and a golf simulator company, those kinds of things are what draw people back to the workplace and make it a place where tenants are selecting. So I think in some ways, where West Park Drive is kind of an island of its own, this will really help activate that entire corridor. So a lot of the landlords will be probably pretty grateful to have it.
Comments? All right, this is a public hearing. I'd like to open it to any comments from the public on this particular change in zoning. This is not approving any projects there. What it is a change in zoning which would allow for a change in use and really a more, a wider use of this particular property, which was zoned many years ago as totally business. All right, if I see no comments on this, is there a motion? I think what we're really looking for, what the town is looking for, is a approval or a support of this change in zoning.
Well, did you want to wait until John Pizzoni is back at the next meeting? The warrant closes February 24th.
All right, so we can wait till the 20.
You can wait until your March 3rd meeting.
Oh,
still
all
to
right, well then
close the hearing.
I would have a motion to leave it open. If John did express his opinions, I think, at the last meeting, but I certainly would like to give him the opportunity if he wants to add anything to what he said previously on this change of zoning.
Okay, then I would suggest continuing to March 3rd.
Fine. Could I have a motion and then continue this till March 3rd?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we'll continue this.
Thank you
because
very
we're
much for your
missing
time.
One of our.
Thank you.
All right, the second public hearing that we have is on the continuation of the zoning amendments for the amending the downtown business BB zoning district. I'd just like to make it clear to everyone, this has nothing to do with the design of the Rotary. So would people please understand that? There seems to be a lot of confusion about the fact that this has something to do with the public hearings that have been had, or the public meetings that have been had to do with the redesign of the downtown Rotary. This has nothing to do with that. Jenny, maybe you could just go through and refresh a little bit about what this amendment to the zoning code is going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to update the board, I did give an update as well to give a presentation to the select board and the advisory finance committee. So they haven't voted yet, but I did give those presentations. And this is really about updating the zoning to clean up what is currently a lot of different zoning districts, including industrial zoning in the downtown. We also have the downtown business district, and then we have municipal uses, of course, which would stay. And then we have parcels that are commercial uses or multifamily uses that are zoned single-family residential and not downtown. Another big change would be to remove the overlay district. We're proposing here to make the base zoning what is the overlay district zoning right now. So it's really making it simpler for a lot of property owners, businesses coming into town to understand the zoning, and also making it more clear for us as staff to interpret the zoning. At the last meeting, we had talked about the additional parcels that would be included in the new downtown business district. So I wanted to take a second and zoom in on that area. So I created a map here to show that existing zoning and which parcels would be added. So you can see here on the screen, the orange is the existing downtown business district, and then you have the existing overlay, and then the parcels that are outlined in red. You can't see my mouse, I'm sorry, let me do the pointer. The yellow is the single-family residential zone, green is the municipal, so an example would be the library is this right here at the corner of Parkman and West Main Street. Orange is the existing downtown business. So specifically, I just wanted to focus in on this area and say that these uses along here that we're proposing on adding in are an existing commercial, multifamily, or other use. There are churches also in the area that right now, under that zoning for residential, would not be allowed, aside for churches, which are a protected use. But they're limited in what they can do with their property should they ever want to change anything on their property. So I'll be interested to hear what the board has to say about adding these additional lots and if there's any public comment on that. But I just wanted to make that clear that these are the lots that we're adding to the downtown that we were really focused on at last meeting. There are a couple of other areas that we're just cleaning up the lot lines. There are lots that are zoned two different zones, so they're zoned single residential and downtown business, which makes it very confusing for enforcement and confusing for property owners or potential business owners to understand what they can do under the zoning. So that's what we're cleaning up there. And I also have a draft of the zoning that I can bring up, and we can go through it with the changes that were made as well.
I think we did that at our last meeting, or last two meetings even, haven't we? Gone through the uses and so forth. I mean, the concern of the community has really been whether there are changes in the existing uses in these particular areas. And I think that's the thing that we really perhaps should focus on at this particular time, because that's where we've heard the public comment, has been the concerns. For example, the people that live on Central Street, I think, have raised concerns. Also, people that are living on West Main and on Church Street. And I think, to be clear, you made some changes yourself based on comments from the Board of Select on what we would do in this particular area. So maybe you could just focus on that a little bit and tell us what the changes that you've made recently based on public comment.
Yeah, absolutely. I can bring up the draft too to point to the areas. It might be easiest. So the changes were really about making sure that one of the changes was making sure that pre-existing non-conforming lots in the downtown area were still protected and did not need to go to the ZBA for a variance necessarily because of being a non-conforming lot. So we added in this paragraph into the zoning that basically says that, let me just make it a little easier to read. That basically says that for pre-existing non-conforming lots, they won't require a special permit for reconstruction. A structure that's non-conforming won't require a special permit for reconstruction as long as it doesn't increase any pre-existing nonconformity with respect to the lot area, setbacks, building height, coverage. So for example, if a lot is 9,000 square feet when the requirement is 10,000 square feet, if someone wanted to redevelop that lot, it's not going to require a special permit because of the lot size. It would be allowed still. So that was one of the comments from the select board, and we added in that paragraph to account for that protection to make that clear. The other addition was for the parking. I know that that was a concern, especially with multifamily being downtown. There was a concern about parking. And so we heard that, and we added in a requirement for one parking space per dwelling unit for multifamily and mixed-use residential projects.
Are there any questions from the board members on the changes? I thank Jenny and her staff who spent a lot of time and effort working on this. I think the point really is to make this easier for people to understand and for people to develop a downtown area in coordination really with our master plan and the thing people are looking for in the downtown area. One of the problems we've had is that there are the regular zoning, then there have been overlays on that over the years, and no one's really thought about essentially taking them all away and having one zoning district, which would make it much easier for people to do things in the downtown area. It also, because of the non-conforming language, the language concerning non-conforming use, it is not going to affect the present uses in the downtown area of certain properties. And I think that also will help people to be able to deal with what they would like to see in the downtown area. I have no other questions really on this, but I will now open this It's a public hearing, and I'll open it to anyone with any comments on these changes. This will be coming before the town, and they will be making the final decision at the town meeting in March. Anyone who has a comment, please feel free to come forward, give your name. I would ask that any presentation be no more than 2 minutes, and we'll be glad to hear from you. There in front of them. I guess that is easier.
Yeah,
I
sitting
don't know
up
which
there
one.
is easier.
I'm not sure, yeah, I'm not sure which
viable.
one works.
Okay.
Good.
Good evening. My name is Amy Dwyer, and myself and my business partner, Dan Pierce, are the owners of 10 Cottage Street. Back up on that map, we were in the upper right-hand corner on the number 40. 10 Cottage Street is a mixed-use property with a small residential house and a detached garage that Dan uses for storage of remodeling equipment and his home improvement business. The property is in need of substantial renovations. 10 Cottage Street is mixed-zone property that includes BB, IB, and it's also located in the D pod. And the proposed zoning would change it to make it all BB downtown business. It's kind of a hodgepodge of everything right now. When Dan first bought the property, he hired an engineering firm and an architect, and we approached the town with a proposed plan of 6 townhouse-style units and 1 mixed-use live-work unit. That plan was shot down, and the request was for more commercial space at that point. Over the last 9.5 years, we've attended countless meetings in town with various ideas, and frankly, we haven't gotten any place. There's a lot of, well, we feel this or we feel that, and nobody who's on first really has an answer about what to do with it or what the best use of it would be, and nobody can kind of agree on it. Allowing for the zoning changes will increase flexibility by allowing more uses by right in the downtown, making the bylaw easier for people to understand, and more importantly, the application process easier and not so overwhelming. The zoning change is consistent with the town's master plan, strategic plan, and downtown plan. And most importantly, the changes will allow for development, which obviously generates tax revenue and increases property values in the area. I'm a full-time realtor, and I can absolutely support that, that notion as well. So we just asked for consideration of and supporting of the zoning changes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Any questions, or we're good? Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in this matter? Yes.
Good evening. Lauren Smith, 29 Church Street. I have the same concerns I had 2 weeks ago when I was here at your last meeting. My main concern about this rezoning is that unless something changed and I didn't understand what you put up there, there are about 21 to 25 currently downtown residential properties that are going to be rezoned as business. And I don't understand the reason for that. There doesn't appear to be a need for it. I printed out this 5-page list today. Unless that's changed, these are the same properties. Several of them are downtown single-family antique homes. Do these owners even know that their properties are being rezoned, or have they been informed? Have they asked for this? That's a lot. It just concerns me. People want to live downtown. The nice thing about being downtown, downtown Westborough has a lot of people who actually live there, myself included. And I don't understand how changing all of these residential properties into business, rezoning them to business, actually advances the town goal. I don't understand that at all. It doesn't make any sense. And you've grouped, in this zoning, you've grouped churches and multifamilies together with business, and they're not the same. They don't have the same use. Churches are very different. Multifamilies are residential. People live there. They're not businesses. And it concerns me a lot that you are lumping these together and trying to sell that to the people of this town in that way. People are moving downtown. They want to live there. There's several properties that I can think of that were business that are now residential. There's a funeral home down the street from me that's now lived in as a residence. There's a dentist's office, former dentist's office on Grove Street. The gentleman who bought it turned it into a single-family home. That's what people want. They want to actually be able to live downtown. And taking all of these properties out of the residential zoning and turning them into business or allowing them to be business, I think is a mistake for the town. I don't think that's what people want. I think residents have more of a stake in the town. They really care what happens. Businesses come and go. As soon as the profits are gone, they leave. There's plenty of vacant business property in the downtown area in my observation, and I don't think you need to take all of these residential properties and rezone them. And it would be a mistake to do that, and I request that either you revise it or that this zoning, rezoning not be supported.
Thank you.
I just want to add a clarification point to her question, but the orange here is the existing downtown zoning, so that's existing. And then those parcels that I had zoomed in on earlier, those are proposed to be added. The blue is the existing industrial zone that's proposed to be changed to be downtown business because it's zoned industrial currently, and that's the same with the purple as well. So the orange is all the existing lots that are zoned downtown business.
So the ones outlined in orange are the proposed to be changed to zoning, to business. So those are churches, those are, this printout that I have from today, there are 21 properties on here currently residential that are proposed to be business.
These properties here are the ones proposed to be added here.
Do those property owners know that they're being rezoned? Have they asked to be rezoned?
Well, there are a couple properties that have asked about the potential for rezoning, yes, but they are notified.
So you can rezone someone's home to a business and they don't even know it?
You're not rezoning their use, though. Their use is
I understand
allowed.
how zoning works.
Excuse me, let's just, Jennifer, if you could answer the question, but the back and forth is not what we're looking for at this point.
Now, I'm happy to set up a meeting, too, to talk through these comments that you have in my office as well. But, so these uses are existing uses, and they would still be allowed under the proposed zoning. The ones that are zoned, the ones that have a multifamily use or a business use are not allowed in this residential zoning district right now. This change would make them be allowed. Single-family homes are also allowed in the downtown business zone. They're allowed in the residential zone. So by making this change, we're not saying that the use has to change. Someone can keep the same use as they want to keep. We are making that use conforming to the zoning.
Because
I would suggest, I know these are questions you raised last time, I would suggest that you might have a meeting with Jenny, talk to her, and perhaps you will understand better what it is we're trying to do at this particular time.
I think I understand. My concern is that there are a number of currently residential properties that you are rezoning business, and no matter how you package it, that's a concern for me, and I think it's a concern. It will be a concern for other people.
Thank you.
are there 9? Where's 9? Yeah, I guess I'm just confused. I wonder, though, is there anything we can say about the number? Because I think there's a discrepancy in even to turn a church into, the church technically is not zoned to be there right now, and by changing it to allow it to be zoned there and some of the businesses, it's not in, I don't think it's 29.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at the list again to confirm that number. I haven't counted, but there are also lots, like there's a lot over here on Cottage Street that is zoned downtown and residential, so it's split zoning, so that would have been included. There's also a lot over here in between Milk and Summer Street that is partially zoned downtown business and partially zoned residential. So those may be some of the ones that are being referenced, but I'll have to go back to the list and I can If you provide me with your email address, I'm happy to reach out to you and set up a meeting.
Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on this? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. My name is Juliana Spofford, 15 Old Colony Drive. I am actually co-chair of the board of the Unitarian Universalist Congregational Society of Westborough, one of the churches that would be in the new overlay zoning. And I just wanted to speak in favor of this new zoning change and kind of offer a different perspective from the church's point of view as well. The UU Church is between School Street and Ruggles Street, and as part of the as part of the parcel of the church, we have a 3 School Street parcel that is zoned together with the church as one pre-existing non-conforming use. The 2-family 3 School Street property has been managed and rented out by the church for about 50 years at this point. And at this point, we are in need of putting a substantial investment in this 3 School Street property, which used to be the parsonage, to maintain it as a rental property. This is a really difficult proposition for us as a church for many reasons. One is that there are many other church building and grounds projects that need attention for the church, that we are, not able to put the money into it at this point. And going forward, the church does not have the interest or the ability to continue as a landlord and a rental manager for financial purposes, for liability purposes, for sustainability purposes. So the property at 3 School Street, would be a beautiful single-family home, has a historic value, would be a great renovation project for a buyer. The current proposed downtown zoning change would make a meaningful difference to us because it would change the zoning of 3 School Street to include it in the downtown business district, and it would make it potentially easier for the church to separate that 3 School Street lot from the church property and allow the church to sell that property as a separate lot.
If you could finish up.
Yes, that would be the best option, I think, from an aesthetics point of view for the town as well as for the church to maintain its viability. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment?
Good evening. I'm Michael Halley. I'm the chair of the Westborough Design Review Board, and I just wanted to come and reinforce our support for Article 31. I always say it's hard to play a game well if you can't understand the rules. So I think changing and simplifying the bylaw will certainly make it a more vibrant opportunity to have a better downtown. It'll be easier to educate proponents. Certainly we need a lot of continued investment in the downtown area, if not just to build or reinforce Westborough as a pro-business community. So I'm very much in favor of this bylaw.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment on this change in the zoning? If not, I would suggest that we continue this till our next meeting, which is on the 3rd of March.
Can I make one more
Sure.
comment? I think it's important too to remember with all the historic homes, there is a protocol and process in place too if you want to change the exterior. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but I think there are other boards and commissions in the town who also have a vested interest in keeping the downtown historic. So I would just say that as well. It's not like it can just be like a historic home taken down
Right.
at will. Yeah.
Could I have a motion then to continue this public hearing until the 3rd of March?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Fine, we'll continue that. The next matter on here was 44 and 46 Libby Lane, which is requested.
Oh,
Hazel, we got
sorry.
the
Oh, I'm
off-premise
sorry.
signs.
What?
The off-premises signs, the billboards, there's 2 items in this.
Oh, sorry. All right. Yeah, okay, so there were also, this is the second hearing, which is a public hearing concerning off-premises signs. We had a presentation on this at our last meeting, and we continued it until this meeting. Are there any comments from the board on this matter?
No.
Jenny, this came before the Board of Select, I believe.
Yeah, the presentation has been given to the Select Board and the Advisory Finance Committee, and we did have a couple of extra slides that I'm second guessing myself now if these were presented to the Planning Board, but they had talked about the company that had originally approached us. They created a map to kind of help understand, based on where they're proposing the location, the areas that would not allow for additional billboards or where could be a conforming location. So that's all this map is showing, that if they have a proposed location here, there's restrictions in other areas. So if this did go through town meeting and they did put a billboard up, there were only 2 other conforming locations potentially, but then one could impact the other because of the 1,000 feet rule. So it's really only 2 locations should that one go through. Additionally, they provided a map showing the I-90. There's an existing billboard on I-90, and based on the restrictions with the state, at the state and federal level, there are no other locations that would be able to have a billboard along I-90 because of the restrictions there. Everything else is pretty much the same. In the bylaw, there weren't many changes made. It would still be a special permit through the planning board. They would need a development agreement with the select board, which is where the select board would look at the monetary compensation that was referenced at the last meeting. And you did receive a letter of support from the fire chief that was forwarded to the board. I'm happy to go through the actual document with you if you want now. Again, the warrant closes February 24th.
I mean, we can do 2 things. We can continue and go through this again. I think, quite frankly, we've seen all the information on this particular change in the bylaw to now allow billboards on 495 and the Mass Pike, though Mass Pike will not be affected. And what is the pleasure of the board? Do you want to close the public hearing at this time, or do you want to leave this open until March 3rd?
I would say leave it open. Yeah.
All right, okay, well then, could I have a motion? I mean, I have been against this. I've not changed my mind, quite frankly. I think that the benefit to the town is, we're talking about maybe $65,000 that the town would be getting this, and I do feel that I like driving down 495 and not seeing billboards. I mean, particularly in this particular town, and I don't think it's going to benefit the town that much. So I am still opposed to this. But anyway, could I have a motion to continue the hearing until March 3rd?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Or I'll open, I'm sorry, I will vote to keep the public hearing closed, so it's 4-0.
To keep it open.
Yeah. Okay. That is the end of our public hearings for tonight.
For zoning.
For the zoning.
For zoning. Um, The next hearing is on a application by Elite Home Builders, which is a request for minor modification to open space based on a subdivision special permit. This is located at 44 to 46 Libby Lane, also called the Ridings 2. My understanding is that they have requested a continuation to our March 3rd meeting. Is that correct? Yeah. Just to raise this, I think it's one of the reasons that we've run into a problem here has to do with the Zoning Board of Appeals. It has been a difficulty between the two boards in the sense that the Zoning Board of Appeals, they have asked for a decrease in the side lot line, which they need a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, and they've also asked for a decrease in the front yard setback, which is a planning board issue. And so trying to figure out who was really in charge, as this has been a problem. I think we need to look at it further. One of the things that I requested from our town planner to talk to them about was some sort of a plan. I find that looking at this myself, it was very difficult to figure out what we needed to look at as far as the front yard setback, because we have no plan in front of us.
The plan isn't complete.
What?
The plan isn't complete. It's definitely missing a lot of information. So that was definitely relayed to them. I know engineering had a lot of comments, conservation had a lot of comments. So hopefully they're working on getting responses to those.
So we really didn't have the information that we needed in order to move forward with this particular project. And then hopefully we can give some guidance to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which we cannot do at this particular time since we don't have the information that we need. So
I have a question on that, Hazel. Would it make sense, or would it be possible to have like a joint meeting with the ZBA?
The two boards, that would not be appropriate.
Okay. Then I take it back.
We need a motion,
Looking to continue?
yeah, to continue this until March 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. 2 Danica Drive. Farouk Ansari has requested a minor modification in their approval for the special permit based on the fact that they have made their application to EOHLC. We do know from experience that that can take months to get an approval on. And the way we had set up the special permit was that until he received the approval from EOHLC, he would not be granted a building permit. He has requested that the minor change be that he be allowed to have his building permit because he has made the application already and that has been confirmed. And this would allow him to move forward at this particular time. But Farouk, if you'd like to add to that.
Well, my name is Farouk Ansari. I represent Village Commons Realty Trust. And what was the question?
The question was what you're seeking, what approval you're seeking. You were looking to obtain your building permit, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Based on the fact that you have made an application to the EOHLC and that everything is in that needs to be, and you're just waiting on that, but you'd like to be able to proceed at this particular
That's
time.
right.
And to change the language which we had in your particular permit, which said that you could not get your building permit until you had received the approvals. And you would like this to be, the condition to be changed so that the approval would be based on getting your certificate of occupancy now instead of getting the building permit in
That's co-
relation to the EOAC approvals.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay. Jenny, is there anything else on that at the moment?
I just provided the board the memo and the confirmation that the LAU, the Local Action Unit application, has been submitted to EOHLC for final review and approval. They did anticipate that it will take approximately 4 months. I'll just make it clear that there are still other items that are needed for the building permit to be issued outside of this. This is one of them. So I did put in a recommended condition, if the board approves this, that the condition be revised, that the final EOHLC approval for all affordable housing units will be received prior to the issuance of any certificates of occupancy, including market rate units.
And I believe we have a letter from engineering that he has completed some of the conditions.
Yes, the town engineer sent an email that he had the requirements, but I believe the outstanding item was a connection fee that needed to be done.
Correct. And will the connection fee be coming shortly? You still owe the connection fee before you can get your building permit?
I paid the building permit fees over a year ago, but I owe money to DPW for water and sewer connection.
Okay.
And I am waiting for all of these to get cleared up so that I can go ahead and give them a check. As soon as I give them a check, they said they'll sign off on that. It's a large amount of money.
Yes,
So,
I know.
yeah.
All right, I'm aware of that. Okay, so that, in other words, you have funds in hand that will be able to pay this permit as soon as we approve the change.
Right, right.
I mean, I'm glad to see that you've moved forward in the way you were supposed to, and you've been paying your fees accordingly. I think this is a great help to us in dealing with you as a builder in this
Yes.
community. All right. Are there any questions from any board members to Mr. Ansari?
I just have a question. Is there any reason that we feel that this might not be approved, might not go through the application?
Jenny,
Not that I know of. So the process is that he hired MCO, which is an affordable housing organization that does this.
Yep.
And so they review the units, the unit sizes, make sure it complies with the EOHLC standards, and then they submit it along. It also has been endorsed by the Affordable Housing Trust and reviewed, so
Okay,
I don't see any reason right now, no.
okay, that makes sense. I think to the recommending that we have that prior to any occupancy makes sense.
no, I think with any government agency,
Yes.
you know, there's always a chance that it won't be approved, but I would say that with this particular agency and the track record this community's had with the applications they've made in various projects, we've not had any problems.
Great.
So I think you have to rely on that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What else you do? If there are no questions, could I have a motion, please?
I move that the planning board approve the applicant's request for a minor modification to the site plan review / special permit decision for 1 Gleason Street, SP 23-3, dated December 12th, 2023, by revising condition number 19 as follows. Final EOHLC approval for all affordable housing units shall be received prior to the issuance of any certificates of occupancy for any units within the development, including market rate units. All other terms and conditions of the decision shall remain in full force and effect.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Mr. Ansari, let me just ask one question. I saw some information that I know you have a commercial building there in that area, and you have a planned use for that now?
I am working on it. I have the building permit for the building. For the commercial aspect, I'm opening up a daycare.
Well,
Always was slanted for a daycare, so.
I think that would be a great addition to that
Yeah,
community.
so it's much needed, in that area. So,
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Do we need to close the hearing for this?
No, it's not a
No,
hearing.
we
the
didn't
hearing,
have a
right.
hearing. All right, we've got applications for 5 Technology Drive and Oak Street by the same applicant. I guess we can take them one after the other.
What? Being a little finicky, so.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the record, Wesley Fliss, McCarty Engineering. I just got my notes here.
All right, we're going to start with 5 Technology Drive.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So this evening, I'm here to represent Provision Ministry and their application in front of you for 5 Technology Drive. What I have in front of you on the screen is the copy of your assessor's map showing the property. 5 Technology Drive here, Technology Drive located in this location here, with 495 located in this area there. The property that's in front of you is a 14-acre parcel, like I said, located at 5 Technology Drive. The property currently is vacant. Back to that last point for a second. So the property is vacant. Majority of the property is wooded in this area here to the south. The northern portion of the property, which is where the development is proposed, is a field that's been maintained. Property has now been flipped, just for reference, for Technology Drive being located here. This really only shows about half of the property that we're looking at developing. There are a number of wetlands located in the property. There's a system of wetlands that runs from the north down through the south that feeds a larger wetland here. There's a smaller isolated wetland here, and then a finger of the border vegetated wetland in this location here. Another isolated wetland on the top of the screen that contains a vernal pool, and there's an additional vernal pool that's off locus just to the east. Like I said, the majority of the site that we're looking to develop is a field now, but I wanted to point out some of the, I guess, restrictions to the property that we've been trying to develop around. I know in the last, I want to say 20 years, there's been a few other developments that have been through the town and approved by the town. We look at this project as being definitely a reduction in scale in comparison to some of the other projects you've seen in front of the town. The proposal that you have in front of you this evening is for a 28,000 square foot building. Provision Ministry right now currently rents property, and their use, what they do is they are a nonprofit organization. What they do is they take in large quantities of donated goods, and they'll sort them out and then deliver them to smaller organizations that need the goods, churches, food pantries, shelters, and so forth, of those, where they basically become the middleman. They've been doing this for a number of years now, and what they're trying to do is find a permanent location to have a warehouse facility, also a small office in this building, to continue their operation. And so what we're showing, and I do have some architectural plans. We don't have a color yet chosen for the plan, but I do have a floor plan I can show you. I wouldn't buy it tonight. Like I said, the majority of the building is going to be a warehouse. We do have some loading docks here. They do have some small office space that they can use also for their operation. They don't employ a ton of people. Really, most of the people they employ are drivers. And so what they do is they'll bring in, I'll go back to our plan, they'll bring in trailer trucks, like I said, of larger quantity of goods into the building. And then they'll separate those goods to what's needed by whatever organization they're donating to. And then they'll have their vans, they have a drive-in door proposed here, and they'll have the vans leave the facility with those goods to deliver to the different organizations that they work with to supply those goods. We do have a parking lot located here for the residents, residents, the employees of the development. We have the handicap spaces in the lower part and all the rest of the spaces there for the employees. We do have some other van spaces here also for the evening for the parking of the vans for that, like I said, closer to the drive-in door there. I apologize. So the development will tie into Technology Drive in this location here, and then also into the driveway for 9 Technology Drive for secondary access to make it easier for the trail trucks to leave in and out of the site, where the trail trucks will come into the main entrance and then back into the loading docks and then leave out the secondary access out of the 9 Technology Drive site. The main, like I said, main connection will be here for Technology Drive. The proponent is proposing to tie into the municipal sewer and water in Technology Drive in this location here. And then because of the change in surface conditions being grass now and going into a building and pavement, we do have an extensive drainage system that we're proposing on the property. We do show a detention basin along that driveway to 9 Technology Drive, and then also an underground infiltration system here underneath the employee parking lot. On the entirety of the building and parking lot and driveways will be treated by that drainage system and then being discharged back out to that extensive wetland system to the south of the property. We have had 2 meetings already with the Conservation Commission for this project, one being last week and then one being a month ago. We do have some delays because of the snow covers. Snow cover right now on the ground, so the commission has continued us out at least another month, and at that time we'll see how the weather goes. I know we're supposed to get some more snow this week, so we're not getting any help by that. But that was one of the concerns they had, is they wanted to make sure they get a chance to get out here and look at the wetlands. And so we are getting delayed by the Conservation Commission a little bit because of the weather. This past week, we did get copies of the peer review that was done by CEI on behalf of the town. So we will look at the peer review and address any of the comments that came back in the peer review. We also get comments from the engineering department, building, fire, Board of Health, I believe was also on that comment list, and then the select board. We were in front of the select board a couple weeks ago also to discuss the project with them. And so there were some comments from the select board also. I can go over any questions that you may have, or I can go over any of the peer review letters that came in. I do have those with me also. We did get a chance to get all copies of those review letters. I'm not sure how the board wants to handle this. We completely understand that we'll have to come back in front of you at least for one more meeting, if not 2, to obviously address any of the issues that came up with all the peer review letters that we got. And we intend to take care of those pretty quickly here. But I do have, like I said, some cut-ups of, like I said, the building elevations. There, like I said, there is no color yet chosen for the building, but it's going to be a, it's going to warehouse building in that in the industrial park up there. So it's going to fit in fine with the industrial park. It's kind of hidden up in the back corner there. So and I asked the question what they're looking at for colors. They just said earth tones. They haven't chosen a color yet, but there's something earth tone. Nothing crazy, right? So, but that's nothing really that they're too concerned at this point. So I can answer any questions that the board may have at this point. And
I think I do see that the planning department had a number of comments, as did, I know, conservation, and I'm a little up in the air at this point. My feeling is I don't have enough information really to proceed. I need to go out and look at the site, which I've not done, and I think probably it'd be worthwhile to have a site walk, just to take a look at the project before I'm prepared to move any further on this. I think we need to go out and take a look at it, whether we may have to wait till the weather gets a little better on that to have a better idea about this.
Well, it's an open field, so at least you can kind of see where the tree line is. We're not looking to do a lot of clearing, so we can set up a sidewalk anytime you would like, even with the snow cover.
Okay.
The site's fairly, like I said, it's open where most of the building's going and where most of the park is going on out there. So, and we can plow it too if you would like an area to meet out there.
I don't think you need to do that. I mean, you could stake it.
Okay.
That would be very helpful to us. And the other thing is that I noticed that one of the comments from the planning department was the lack of access between this property and other for pedestrian safety and connectivity. So I think that's something that we do need to look at from what I've seen.
We can take a look at that. I mean,
Yeah.
from the standpoint of this type of development, we don't anticipate any pedestrian traffic because of the type of use they are. They don't see customers there, right? It's, if you're working there, you go in there to either to be an office personnel or you go in there to be a driver. And so there's no customer really interaction at that
Well,
place.
we'd still like to see.
And so, but
take
if
a
we do
look
the
at
site
it.
walk, we can take a
Yeah.
look at what's out there and see if we can tie anything into it, at least get a crosswalk out there to any of the existing sidewalks.
So I didn't have any other question at this point because I don't have enough information really to ask many questions.
Yeah, I can add to that comment too, Hazel. if
Yeah,
you'd like
could
me
you?
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pedestrian connection, more so I'm talking about even for employees to be able to access the existing sidewalk on technology.
Okay.
Just adding in a safe crossing area for them would, I think, go a long way. So exploring that possibility. And then also, I had noticed in your development impact statement that you gave a brief transportation narrative, but it didn't give any like projected employee counts, which really helps us when we're doing that evaluation, what your delivery schedules are, anticipated truck activity, while it's an industrial zone that, you know, is important information for the planning board. And then I had an additional comment just to, the community development director had submitted a letter to the board about the potential for a pilot, which is for the public, a payment in lieu of taxes. This is a nonprofit use, so it would be exempt from property tax. And so a pilot is something that many nonprofits do, a payment in lieu of taxes. That doesn't have to be a monetary thing. There is an ability to do a monetary payment instead of paying the full taxes, but there is also the option to pay in terms of goods and services. So a portion of the items that the provision ministry has could go towards Westborough schools, for example, which I believe they already do.
So we did talk to the applicant about that because it did come up at the select board meeting. And so that was one of something that he was being more willing to do, because the monetary part, obviously because they are a nonprofit, they weren't too excited about doing a pilot program because of their budget is very tight. And so, but they would be willing to handle, I think, that second item with regards to working with the town's entities that, I think some of them they already do work with. And so he said he'd continue to do that and see if they can expand upon that, if you have any other organizations that are in need. So they are willing to work with the town with regards to that, but the monetary part, they're kind of taken back a little bit by it because, like I said, their budget is pretty tight, and putting up their own building it's a big investment, right? With it renting right now, it's just a monthly fee, right? So but that they would be willing to, I guess, do that part of the second item. So.
Yeah, just something for the board to consider as we move through this process, that may be a potential condition that you could put on the decision.
That's something the select board had asked for?
They had also mentioned it, but this, I was specifically referencing from the community development director.
So, right, he was there at the select board meeting too, I believe. So I know that was talked, the select board brought it up originally because they were concerned about the lost tax revenue on the property. And then it was talked about the pilot program at that meeting. Because I think he already brought it up to the applicant, so.
I mean, I'm just looking at this, obviously, we need to continue this till our next meeting in March as far as that goes, but are there any other questions from board members at this particular time?
Can you, I think you said something about 9 Technology Drive too? Did I miss?
Yep, and so
Is that 5, and that was just with the road?
the connectivity of the driveways. And so
Okay.
we're gonna connect the secondary access off of the driveway for 9 Technology Drive.
Okay.
And as part of that, there'll be easements over the 9 Technology Drive driveway. And
Okay.
so one of the other items that I know came up during the conversation with the applicant is that one thing that Technology Drive is a private road, so they're on the hook to, you know, be part of that maintenance agreement for Technology Drive.
Got it.
And so that was part of their concern is we throw a pilot program on there for money, and then on top of the maintenance of Technology Drive, they were starting to look at the budget of
Sure.
the project. They wanted to make sure this could be done. So
And then I guess my other question is, this is completely field now, right? This is a net new.
most of it's all field, yes.
Okay.
There are a couple trees that will have to come down, but you can see, it's going to zoom in a little bit. I know it's tough
Yeah.
to see with the colored rendering. Maybe not. Technology is not working great.
That's fine.
And
I used to
so,
work at 9 Technology.
yep, so there's some of the trees here where the basin will have to, some of the trees will have to be taken out for the driveway and then the detention basin as you come in.
Okay.
And then a couple trees on the side here, but majority of that field is where the project's
Okay.
being located.
I guess-
And really what's pushing us just to the south is the vernal pool to the north here, because there is a 125-foot buffer
Right.
to that vernal pool. And the same thing with the vernal pool to the east that we're working through with the commission to make sure that, everything's kind of getting compressed to that corner of the site
Right.
now.
Okay. I guess my only other comment is less about this building and just knowing that there are so many large vacant buildings. I mean, nothing really to be done about that, right? You own the space that you own, but yeah, there's just a lot of vacant, or like existing buildings that sit vacant.
And I think that's right. That's,
Yeah. in
they
the area.
prefer not to rent going forward. I think
Sure.
that's the issue,
Yeah.
right? And then they don't necessarily need the size of some of the other
Yeah.
vacant buildings, right? So this
That's
was going
fair.
to suit their need for what they're doing.
Okay.
That's a good point, Chris. John, do you have any questions?
No questions.
All right, could I have a motion then to continue this? Oh,
I can't imagine there was no any butters, but I didn't know if.
Right. Open it up for the public.
Public comment.
We should open up for public.
The reason I
comment.
ask is if there's any changes that we need to
okay,
make
just
because of
one
any
at a
other
time.
comments.
Is there anybody who'd like to comment on this project at 5 Technology Drive?
We haven't seen anybody at the Conservation Commission, but I just want to make sure nobody's coming to talk about traffic or anything like that, so.
If not, could I have a motion then to continue this matter until March 3rd?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Okay. Oak Street.
Access to the plans.
Sorry, I keep forgetting
Pull
where.
them up in Permit Pro.
I
if you
keep
need.
forgetting these are.
Can't get it to.
Open the public hearing for Oak Street. Did you read the?
Oh,
Notice.
sorry. I didn't for the other one. I don't think I have it. Wait a minute.
It was on the same paper as the 5 Technology.
Oh, okay,
I pull up this.
Yeah,
I got it. Sorry.
I gotta restart.
Pursuant to site plan review provisions, I forgot to do it for 5 Technology Drive.
Oh, you did it.
I did it, okay.
I thought you did it, yeah.
All right, pursuant to the site plan review provisions under section 3.1 of the Town of Westborough zoning bylaw, the planning board is opening a public hearing for Oak Street, parcel ID 33-36-0, for a full site plan review application submitted by Westborough Tennis and Swim for the construction of a 26,000 square foot building with associated parking and site improvements. Okay, public hearing is open.
Good evening,
ahead.
Wesley Fliss, McCarty Engineering, here to represent Westborough Tennis and Swim Clubs, I apologize. So the property that we're looking at is a 7-acre parcel located on Oak Street, across from 45 Oak Street. Westborough Tennis and Swim Club, they operate 2 other properties adjacent to this, one being at 35 Chauncey Street and the other at 30 Oak Street. The 35 Chauncey Street property is a larger property that they currently have their fitness center at and also some courts at. The intent of the project that's in front of you this evening is to construct a 26,000 square foot building on the 7-acre parcel. The intent of the building is to move some of the operation that's at 35 Chauncey Street to the new building, shown up on the plan here. And really what they're looking to do is move their fitness part of their business to this building and then retrofit the existing buildings at 35 Chauncey Street for more tennis and pickleball courts to further expand and service their clients. And so even though they are putting a decent-sized building up on this property, the building won't entirely grow their business as much as you would think. Really what it's looking to do is better service their clientele. And so what they're intending is after this property is developed, in between their other 2 properties being retrofitted, they would service around between 300 and 400 customers, and really looking at an additional 100 to 200 customers because of this improvement to their business. Currently, the way this drawing is shown, we have 2 access points being shown off of Oak Street, one closer to the 45 Oak Street property and one closer to the intersection of Chauncey and Oak Street. We do show parking fields around 3 sides of the building, a larger parking field in the entrance and then along the side to the west, with a smaller parking lot to the south. There are wetlands along the eastern boundary of the property. We, again, have been in front of the Conservation Commission. We were in front of them about a month ago now for the filing for work within the 100-foot buffer zone. Similar to the last project, it has been continued because of snow cover. We are working through that with the Conservation Commission, trying to figure out a way to have that review done for the wetland delineation. Really, the concern is down near where the existing billboard sign is. There was some question about whether the wetlands extended a little further in that location there. The proposal is going to tie into the municipal sewer and water out on Oak Street. And then because of the change in surface condition from mostly field that you see on this property to the building and the pavement and the concrete sidewalks, we will have a drainage system. Underneath the front parking lot will be an underground infiltration system. And in the rear of the site to the south will be an above ground infiltration basin also. Portion of the building is sent to the underground system to the front, and then portion of the building is being sent to the above ground basin in the back of the property. As I stated, we will continue to work with our permitting with the Conservation Commission for work within the 100-foot buffer zone that we're showing here. We were in front of the Select Board also in the same evening that we were in front of for the previous project. The Select Board did have some comments on this project. Likewise, the Planning Board of the Conservation Commission did hire CEI to do the peer review on the project. We did get that peer review back, I think it was on Thursday or Friday last week, and so we did have a chance to quickly look at that. We will work through those comments with a peer reviewer. At the same time, I know engineering also issued their set of comments, so we did see those. Board of Health and Fire also issued, and I believe Building Department also issued their comments. So as part of this, we will update our plans to take care of any comments. We will issue a response letter to all those comments that came out from the different reviews by the boards and the peer reviewer, and answer any of the questions that are out there, revise the plan where needed, that needs to be updated by any of the comments that are force us to update the plan. We'll obviously be asking this board to continue the hearing so we can make those changes that need to be made, but we'd like to at least get any questions that the board may have on this project. And I know maybe there might be some discussion because of what was brought up by the different responses by the boards. I know the select board had a number of comments. I know engineering had a couple comments that probably will maybe direct some of the comments tonight by this board also with regards to access points. And we more than happy to answer any questions in regards to why we did what we did and why we're showing it the way we are showing it. So I guess at this point I can answer any questions that the planning board may have on this project, and go from there.
All right, I mean, I think we are, as in your other project, a little preliminary in the fact that there are a lot of open questions on both projects at this particular time. I know they're not connected, but they both have a number of questions.
Yeah, in very similar questions, I know from at least CEI's standpoint, right? Both review letters are pretty common, and I know we dealt with them recently on the Everrise project, so our thought was to have another conference call with CEI and possibly, I know last time we did with engineering also, just to have a conference call with everybody, just so we can go over the peer review letters and address any of the issues that we may have questions for, and then make updates to the plans and get the plans back to everybody so they can be signed off on. And so we understand the process, but at least try to get the initial comments out from the planning board, and then, we may make revisions or probably more questions, right? So, and hopefully get to a final set of plans so we can start construction in the springtime is really what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, it makes sense to kind of come here and see what questions we might have on it. I think one thing I meant to do this weekend and forgot to do was to go down and drive around that area on a Saturday and or Sunday, because I think it's a heavily used traffic area with the hockey rink there, plus things that are going on at the tennis club, and I have some concern about the traffic and how that will be dealt with. So that is one thing I'd like to do still, is to get down and take a look at it on a, well, to me would be a higher time of use.
So I'm so sorry to cut you off. So I know one of the comments that came back, I believe, from the select board, but also engineering, was about the secondary access being close to Chauncey and Oak Street intersection. So I know that was something that we are going to take a look at to see if we can get the maneuverability with eliminating that access point. I don't know that answer as of today, because we have to run, really the fire truck movement is going to dictate what we can and can't do for access out here. I know in the back we are going to add a T turnaround for the fire access, because I know that was one of the questions that the fire department had. And so we are going to add a little bit of pavement in the, I guess, southwest corner of this project to allow for the any kind of fire truck that would have to access to the back of the building, and availability to be able to turn in and around there and get out of the site within a 3-point turn. But in the same breath, we also would have to look at if we eliminate that access point to Oak Street and Chauncey, if we could still get a fire truck in and around the front there. And so that's really the thing that would dictate any ability to change that. But it is something that we have seen the comment where we are going to look to see if we can address that and see if we can eliminate that access point, because we know that's been brought up by a couple of different people. And if we can make it work, we will make that work. And hopefully that would improve at least. I think that was it seemed like talking to a couple of the select board members, that was a big point of contention, is they didn't want an access point that close to that intersection, since it is a busy intersection, right? So, which makes sense if we can get it done.
All right.
And just so you know, I know other question was asked, why aren't we going out to Route 9? We prefer not to go out to Route 9 at this point, just because of the way this sets up with their other use. They want to create, the 3 business sites that they have to work within itself. And they'd rather not include Route 9 as, where the traffic flows and so forth. One item that we don't show on the plan, but I know came up, I think, was from the Traffic Commission and the Select Board, was sidewalks. And I know, Jen, you brought up that the last project, we are willing to work with the DPW on best fitting sidewalks out here along at least the frontage of the development here, to tie in the sidewalks to here, to the other uses that, especially to the 35 Chauncey Street property that the applicant has. And so that's something that we did talk with the applicant about, is the best way to get that to work there. But we will work with the DPW with that, and we're willing to have that as a condition of approval if that's something that the board would want to do. That, like I said, it's something that you can make a condition there. The applicant knows they have to do it. It's just a matter of how we get that to work really at the other part of it's really on the other side of the intersection. gets a little more difficult. In front of our site's easy. It's flat out there along Oak Street, but it's just trying to get across that odd intersection, right? So,
I mean, I think the basic question is how much crossover there's going to be. And that's something maybe, I don't know whether that'd be sort of hard to get figures on.
Yeah,
but the question is, you know, what you contemplate on people using more than one facility and where they'd be parking and back and forth on. And I'm not quite sure how you get statistics on something like that, but it may have to do with the amount of people that are using the facilities. So that's just something you might want to think about.
And they have, and that's what, to be honest with you, they don't anticipate as much pedestrian traffic as they do somebody using the facility for, say, an hour, hour and a half at one facility and going over to use the courts, or vice versa, right? Especially because if the courts are on a reserved time slot, that you might use one or the other first, and then and use the fitness center later, say. And so because of the amount of time you would use the facility, sometimes they would, and especially this time of year, you're probably going to see people drive more than they were walking.
Well, that's the other thing, is then how much traffic, an increase in traffic there will be at that particular
Well, and that's what I said is even though if this was a standalone business, it would be a lot more increase in traffic. But because it's not a standalone business, they don't see it as creating as many customers as you would see if it was a standalone business, because it's servicing the same clientele. Yes, it should hopefully increase their number of people, but it's not a straight extrapolation of the size of the building, right? So,
questions from the board on this?
You looking at me for a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was just looking at the board generally.
It looks like there's a lot of comments from the peer review on stormwater. Do you anticipate the changes to the stormwater system to address those comments, to change the layout of the site or anything?
the layout of the site, no. To be honest with you, the drainage questions are more detail oriented. Some of them that I think we just need to have a conversation with them, because it's a lot of stuff we had the same conversation with the previous project on Everise, and so it's a lot of the same conversation we're going to have on this one. We did provide a lot more data on this project than we did the previous one, so it's just a matter of, I think some of it just has to have a conversation about what was presented, and then, but no, I don't see a lot of changes to this, no, because of the drainage, no.
Thank you.
I have do you have anything else, Joe?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Just a couple of comments. So I am a member of the tennis and swim club, and my daughter's on the swim team. There's definitely a lot of traffic right there at 5:30 in the evening, Monday through Friday. I will say, though, a lot of the reason for that is because there's not enough parking on the two sides. So I do appreciate that this has more parking on the fitness and like moving the fitness center. I think it makes sense in terms of like the layout of the club. I also agree with the sidewalk comments and making connectivity across, especially, I don't know where the new kids club is going to go, but people kind of going back and forth, dropping their kids off, picking them up. I think making that easier too would be good. Yeah, it's definitely high traffic. But I think part of the problem there is the three very small parking lots.
You can say, I mean, I think, I do see that staff has asked that we consider asking for a traffic study, and I think one would be very important at this particular intersection, based on your comments that you just made, Chris, on that, is the amount of traffic. I mean, one of the problems on that whole area is the fact that people use Oak Street as a cross-through to avoid Route 9, and therefore at 5 o'clock at night, you have a lot of people that are using that street. And if you're adding more people, I think a traffic study would be very important at this particular time on that particular project, on this project. Caroline, any comments?
I just had a question. If the other property that's on Oak Street I don't know if the uses there will continue, but if so, is there like an idea of any sort of connection between the two properties on Oak Street, or would that mainly be to go on?
Yeah, so it's right next door. So yes, there would be a sidewalk that would connect the two.
The sidewalk?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
And the intent is to keep that
Okay.
building, at least right now, yes. If I could just, one other item I know keeps coming, it's come up a few times in the letters, and just so I know, it came up in the CEI letter, and it was asked, why have everything to this side of it. First of all, it was the closest point to the existing uses, but it also allows the rest of the property to be left for future development. They're not, this is technically, I believe, there was 4 parcels, at least, that really touch this development, and then a couple other parcels that this landowner has. And so they don't want to, I know the question is, why doesn't this get pushed over? Why doesn't it get centered? Why does it get pushed even way, way over to the west to be further away? The intent is not to limit development of the rest of the property that the landowner has, because they do have, I think, 6 separate parcels out here, and they would like to keep at least the availability to develop some of the other parcels that they have out here. And then, like I said, to keep also this as close as they can to the use that's already out there, tying into their other 2 uses, so.
Are there any other comments from Jenny? Have you got any comments?
Yeah, I just have an additional comment regarding the sidewalks. I know it was mentioned that it could be a condition, which I do agree with, but I think the planning board needs to see that connection prior to approval of some sort of pedestrian connection between the properties and how that will interact, rather than leaving it for after the decision is made as a condition. And then, obviously, I had made the comment about the traffic study, and I do think that's important. We really need to include in that an analysis of the driveway operations, the turning movements there, and then just understanding the amount of traffic that goes through there. There's a lot of heavy uses, particularly, it sounds like, in the evening hours and on the weekends, so it would be good to just understand what's going on there, and that will really drive the pedestrian connections or any potential road improvements as well.
Have we had any comments from DPW on the use of sewer on this particular project?
Yeah, well, engineering had comments about this sewer and water, but just.
Okay.
Yeah, there were just comments about the stormwater, but I don't believe there's any concern about the water or sewer connections.
All right. If there are no other questions, board members, I'll open this to the public to any comments they might have.
Sorry, can I make one more clarifying question?
Sure.
So the fitness center is moving across the street, and it will add pickleball courts. I think tennis right now is in 2 different buildings. Is that right?
Sure, I can help you with that. Justin Lundberg, representing Westborough Tennis and Swim. So we have tennis in 2 bubbles, 4 courts in 1 bubble, 2 courts in a bubble near the club, and then there's 2 courts across the parking lot, and then 3 courts in the main building. And I think the idea would be to turn the fitness into tennis courts, but probably paint lines on them so pickleball could also be used. But I think we have a greater demand for tennis than pickleball at the moment. So
Sure. I guess I was thinking too, just like from a consolidation standpoint, again, just to make it easier from a traffic flow.
Yeah, and I mean, I hear the concerns about going across the street, but I think that will be, people who go to fitness are there 30 minutes to an hour and a half. People who go to tennis are, they have bags and they have rackets, and they're usually not walking back and forth across the street because they're carrying so much stuff with them. It's the people who are doing fitness are typically the ones that will drop their kids off at the kids club, and then they'll walk across the street. I think with the fitness center across the street, you're gonna have a lot less traffic of people walking across the street, but there'll be traffic going from the new fitness center to the kids club, which is on Oak Street. So I think that sidewalk going to kids club is particularly important because I think they'll be, walking there when the weather's nicer. Like now, nobody wants to walk, but I don't think there's gonna be nearly as much going across and walking. If you go to play tennis, you're gonna pack up all your stuff. You're not gonna walk over to the fitness center and then walk back to your car at tennis, or vice versa. So I think that there'll be a lot constrained on the Oak Street side and a lot less going from Chauncey to Oaks.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, are there any from the public? Yes, sir. If you could give your name and then if you would keep your remarks under 2 minutes, I'd appreciate it. Sure.
Something that I do not believe has been addressed is,
Sorry, sir.
Could you give your name?
oh, I'm
please?
sorry, forgive me. Michael Wood, 2 Woodman Avenue.
Okay.
Right at the
No.
corner. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Something that has not been addressed is the neighbor, us. My experience is the traffic on that road is terrible. And you're having 133 spaces, which is what we counted when we looked at the plan for cars. He just stated we have 100 to 200 extra customers. That's going to add to the traffic. One of the other things that it's going to do is it's going to be, besides they do already use Oak Street as a shortcut for Route 9, but you also have Woodman Avenue. And that may be people coming off of Route 9 to go to the fitness center. So it's going to increase the traffic on Woodman Avenue. I think there's definitely a need for a traffic study. It also doesn't address the fact that you got this thing across from my house that's going to be open from 6 to 10 with all those car headlights poking into my windows. So there's some issues I have with that too. The field has a history of, well, used to have, we've been there since 1950. There is a vernal pool in that field. So I think there's a lot of things to be looked at. And I think the traffic is a huge issue, extremely huge.
Because you cannot take a walk there anymore,
Yeah, but
unless you want to go and walk around the Chase building for exercise.
All right, let your husband finish and then.
well, she's my sister.
Sister, I mean, your
Okay.
sister, I apologize.
But as I say, I don't think the plans we looked at does not address us as neighbors whatsoever. Doesn't take us into consideration whatsoever. And I'll be honest with you, we've been there since 1950. I'm not selling. And I think I've got everything right now, but my sister has some other things too.
That's fine. Okay, if your sister could,
Before we move on to her comments, do you see a lot of people coming off of Route 9 onto Woodman to access that property?
A lot of
Yes.
the times, yes, because they also do that for the ice arena, and yeah.
Yeah,
We've actually had problems with actually vehicles riding on the lawn from Woodman Avenue. We kind of fixed that by putting big rocks there. So yeah, sometimes people are extremely irresponsible. At Woodman Avenue, there's a stop sign. Very few people use it.
The traffic analysis that the applicant has submitted or that we're asking you to do, is that going to take into account Route 9 and Woodman or just Oak Street?
I think we would have to
You can ask
decide.
ask them to.
I didn't know if there was any scope already kind of
We
identified.
The first I've heard of tonight was, from the planning report, was just tonight's meeting.
Okay.
So I had not seen the planning report.
So I would recommend looking for any traffic analysis that we do get or that you do to include.
So let me take a look at, because I know we did some other work in this area too. So
Right.
oops, sorry.
let me take a look at what we have out there too.
Yeah.
So
Because if people are coming, I mean, it's a pretty, I'm looking at the map and it seems like a pretty simple shortcut if you're looking to come home from work,
You know, and
go Woodman straight to the
Right.
facility.
there are
So-
times they really are, it's dangerous.
So I would recommend that intersection also be included in any kind of analysis.
and Jenny, if you could just look and see if there's anything else on that as far as the neighborhood goes. I mean, you've got traffic coming in from Chauncey Lane also. I don't know how much is coming from there. So I think the traffic study in this particular should maybe cover a larger area than kind of your normal, just
Yeah.
2 streets or something.
Yeah, because when you take your ride there sometime, you'll see, you can see. A lot of people in the Now they put a double line on the road, but it doesn't slow people down, it just makes them go faster.
Well, let's hear what your sister would say. If you could introduce yourself, and then we'll give you 2 minutes.
Yep. My name is Ruth Cimarelli, and I'm his sister. The things that, you know that Boston Lawnmower recently came in there too, okay? So between Boston Lawnmower and the tennis court, the ice hockey place, people don't even stop at the stoplight on Whitman Ave at all. They just keep going. So you can't even walk on that street. What we end up doing for our walk is having to go over to the Chase building and walk around the Chase building because it's the safest way to walk. Also, too, is even the Chase building has a huge back parking lot that isn't even used. So, and that is owned by the same people. So, they used to be, when it first came in, they had a little ramp that went over a little stream between Chase and the tennis court. There's a drainage stream in there because all that behind there is wetland. They used to have a little bridge, and people would go, and basically it was also for the Chase employees. They would go over the little bridge to go to the tennis club and then park in the behind Chase. But they don't do that anymore. But
Well,
that's a big,
this is one of the reasons we are asking for a traffic study.
yes.
So hopefully this will give us
Yeah.
a more idea
Yeah.
of the effect of this project on traffic in that
Yeah,
particular area.
and also, it's going to impact our house with all the lights that are gonna be out there continuously, too. We already have it from Boston Lawnmower. At least we don't have to have security lights anymore, because we have lights from all the buildings.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
If you have any other concerns, please feel free to deliver them to the planning department anytime. And we will be keeping the hearing open on this project. So we will be discussing this again on the 3rd of March.
Okay,
I
thank
have a
you.
quick clarifying question. What's the Chase building?
The Chase building?
Well, Chase Paper used to be,
Oh,
you don't understand,
oh,
yeah.
so you aren't from around here.
Sorry,
We
sorry.
came back before there was even a Chase building, we lived there when there was a farm.
Farm,
Okay,
yeah.
So
It's
the
the
big-
building right next door to the tennis court.
okay,
The
I
big
didn't
building.
know, I
It
didn't
used to
know,
be
because we were all
Chase
talking
Paper.
about.
It was the
Okay,
largest printer of, invitations in the country.
Yeah.
got it. Like
And,
where the New England spas, like over
So
there.
behind
Oh,
it,
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
that's where the spa thing is now.
Paper chase?
Yeah.
Is that how you related?
Yeah.
Forgive me.
You all set, Chris?
Yes, thank you.
Can you just bring up the landscaping plan?
It is, yep, right there. If you go up one more. And so we show landscaping along the front. We're not touching the field that's to the left of it. And then
That's
there
my
is,
concern,
actually, I was trying to call up the
In the distance between,
distance between their property and this is,
What I measured from your chart over there was about 150 feet by the time the parking lot's put in there. That drawing to me was misleading.
can you go to sheet 1, actually? Yeah, sorry. No, sorry, I apologize. One more. Like that shows, right? So we're, I don't know, a little less than half of the property between the parking lot and their property boundary.
And you can see the
Just left in
corner
its
up there?
natural state.
That's the corner of the Chase building.
So I guess my concern is there's really no screening between the parking lot and their property, and it's a field, so you're gonna leave it in its natural state, right?
Correct.
But it's a meadow, it's a field, it's not really gonna provide any screening. And if their concern is for
Yeah, so
parking and headlights and everything that's gonna be shining directly into the house, I can see the concern there. So I would say, can you think about some more landscaping screening either along the parking lot line, or if the applicant has plans to do something with the rest of that property in the future, maybe along the property line bordering the abutters.
We'll take a look at it.
Anything else? Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to this applicant? Thank you very much.
Thank you as well, and thank you for your patience with me.
Okay. Um,
And I think I just need a vote on the requirement of the traffic study.
Oh, okay. Could I have a motion then to require a traffic study on this project?
So before you vote on that, can I get,
Excuse me?
before you vote on that,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I don't think we're gonna win and get this eliminated, so I guess I just want to make sure that we get what you're looking for and that this scope doesn't get out of hand, I guess, for a traffic study.
All right, I would suggest you work with the planning department on this with Jenny and work out the parameters of this based on comments we've had from the board and from neighbors.
We have a description of the requirements within our planning board rules and regulations and requirements.
Yep.
So you can take that, but then it sounds like they also want additional intersections included, which probably would be included anyway.
Well, I guess that's the question, right? So we're looking at Woodman and Oak and Chauncey are the two main intersections that we're looking at, and then looking at the impact of the two driveways that we're proposing to see if the two driveways even, I guess from a traffic engineer standpoint, are
But
suitable.
you've also got North Star, the street coming down there next to North Star. The one between Boston Lawnmower and North Star.
Birdie Lane,
Bridle.
Bridle Lane. sorry.
Bridle, well, we would get the traffic, but we wouldn't study that intersection. Bridle Lane wouldn't be something that, typically on a traffic study, that's the reason I asked the question, is we wouldn't typically, analyze that intersection because Bridle Lane it's a industrial park, right? I mean, or a commercial park, or however you want to call it.
Yeah, but Bridle Lane gets a tremendous amount of traffic on weekends with North Star, 'cause you've got the hockey there.
Yeah, but it's due to them, not us. We're not going to impact their traffic flow onto Bridle Lane. We're not going to add to Bridle Lane. If anything, we're looking, the intersection, the
see, 'cause
closest
you-
intersection is
Yeah,
Because you wouldn't go.
Woodman and Oak.
you wouldn't go
Right.
that way, yeah.
So that's why I asked the question, is I don't want to do something and then come back and say we didn't do what we're supposed to do, but I also don't want to do something we're not having an effect to.
All right, well, then I'll leave that up to you and Jenny to work it out.
Hazel, I would just, as a recommendation, I would say Woodman and Oak, Chauncey and Oak, and then Chauncey and Lyman would be the three intersections that I would prioritize. So Woodman and Oak,
Yeah.
Chauncey and Oak, and then Lyman and Chauncey. Because that seems like the entry points for a lot of people that would be using this facility. Chauncey and Oak, just because it's right at the driveway.
no,
Well, and I can see Chauncey and Oak, but it's Chauncey and but
That
right.
intersection, right?
It's-
It's going to be your driveways. It's going to be.
it's a good distance away. That's the reason I'm, okay. Well, again,
Sorry, are you saying Chauncey and Lyman?
Yeah, it's a long distance.
The
Yeah.
only reason I say that is the people who aren't going to go down Woodman to get to the facility are going to go down
Lyman to get there.
Lyman to get down Chauncey. That would be my concern. I doubt anyone's going to go all the way down Route 9 and then up Milk to Oak, though they might come Milk to Oak to there, but I think that'll get caught in the Woodman Oak intersection. That's that is, I think that's just the Green Thumb driveway. I don't think that's a road.
Correct, yeah.
That's closed, if I remember correctly. So it would really just be Woodman Public Road.
Yeah, the gas station has like an entrance for the fire department.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the chain, yeah.
It's changed.
Is there, is the synagogue in a butter?
The synagogue's out of that building, I think, that right?
There's a synagogue.
If you look at the Google Maps,
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's no longer there.
Okay,
That's,
I
isn't,
wasn't.
yeah, isn't that your facility? Isn't that your building?
That's their
That's
building.
the building, okay.
They, at one point, they had offices there, is that what it was, right? The synagogue had it still shows on Google
That's
Maps.
totally
Right
fine.
there.
I didn't think
Yeah,
that
they're
I-
gone.
an event center there?
Yeah, across the street, yes.
Yes.
Besides and supposedly, the back of that building, they're going to be putting in some kind of emergency response vehicle building center. Supposedly that's something else that's going in there. I believe there was
That proposed
something up
site,
for
I think,
that.
is not there.
Right?
The proposed emergency additional, like, emergency responder.
That
Oh,
would be the back part of the, where the parking lot is right now. It's like a big open building, my
you'll
understanding.
have to, sorry, can you come up to the microphone it's
I'm sorry.
hard to hear, and then for the public in the minutes, we have to.
I believe there was a thing in the paper about they're going to put in like an assembly area for emergency vehicles in the back of that building, where the
Okay.
pool place is, you know, where the hot tub place is. It's a big area. And my understanding was that they were supposed to be working on
Okay.
having that as well. And I can't remember when it was, but I figure you guys would know that.
Well,
Yeah,
that
I'm
hasn't,
not sure that's hasn't come in front of this board. I'm not sure about the timing
Right?
of that project.
Oh, it's a rental? Yeah, because there was some article on that. And what they do is they, like, emergency vehicles, they kind of repair them and build them and stuff
Okay.
like that.
that hasn't come
No,
before
we
us.
don't know anything about it.
Okay,
Oh,
but I know that's what I had heard, so
I guess-
there's
Right, but
future
we have
development
to- We
there.
have to deal with what we know for a fact.
right.
There are a lot of things that we hear comments about that are going to come before us, or possible projects that are going to come, but until they actually come,
Okay,
we cannot really take them into consideration when we're looking at them.
okay, I'm sorry about that, but that was,
okay.
I just, like I say, I knew that because I was saying to myself, you know, what else is going on behind that thing? And there was
Right.
supposedly something else going in there.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your
Thank you.
patience with me.
Not a problem. All right. So I think.
One other thing. The event center,
I'll send it to you.
usually on Saturday nights and stuff, what looks like an
Right,
empty
but that's
parking.
far enough down, and we're talking at this point about the traffic.
Well,
No, there's no,
The event center is further down.
no, it's in the Chase
next-
building.
Street, yeah.
It's right across the street.
Yeah, across the street, but as I said, that would be automatically part of the traffic study.
Okay, because I was just going to say that on Saturday nights, what looks like it's empty, it's packed.
Yeah.
So that's another boost to your traffic.
Right, but that, since it's right there.
Okay, but that would be taken into account when they do the traffic study, wouldn't it?
But it wouldn't, from an hour standpoint, greatly affect the use of the.
Yeah, I'm not
Tesla.
sure. I just wanted to give
Yeah.
you guys the details,
Yes.
because,
Yeah, no, they'll be
We live
running
with it.
traffic counts and that kind of thing
all right.
by doing that.
All right, I'll
Okay.
give you a favor and shut up for the
I
rest
do,
of the
I
night.
do think, though, similar to the conversation that we had about some of the Del Webb, I think you could take, if there are, like, you can talk to the building commission, right? If you're having issues with lights, right, and something else is across the street,
Well,
and
this
it's
is
like,
one of the reasons John had the question about the screening for the
right.
landscaping.
I guess I'm just trying to say, it sounds like there are other issues in the area
Yeah,
that
but I
have
mean,
nothing to
those
do
are
with
the
it.
sorts of things that you deal with the site plan. We'll have to look at lighting, have to look at
Right.
plan, because it's the screening that's going to affect that more than anything else.
Right, I agree. I guess I was suggesting if there's something related to the other businesses.
But we cannot go back and. do
No, I'm
the
not,
other
I'm not,
business.
I'm just giving him an avenue for like someone to talk to if he's having an issue, since that's not in front of us right now.
Right,
He's having an
so, as
issue
I
with the
said,
hockey.
We just are dealing with what we have.
Yes,
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
All right, well, then if I could have a motion to, is there anyone else in the public who'd like to speak to this matter?
can I make one other comment? Go ahead, John. Oh, it looked like you did. Okay, the only other comment I would make, I know there are concerns. I do think that that Tennyson Swim Club is a beloved, central, location for the community. I think having it have more parking, be larger, would benefit a lot of its current and future members. So I just wanted to state that.
That doesn't really
I
have
ag-
to do
I-
with what we're dealing with.
Well, it does, I guess, from the comments that we're making, I guess just from we're trying to work with everyone to get the best plan forward. Yes, thank you, Hazel.
If I could have a motion to continue the public hearing until March 3rd.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? We'll continue this till then. And Jenny, if you would work with the applicant on the parameters of the traffic study.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is a request from the Active Transportation on a warrant article for a crosswalk on Ruggles Street on the back of the high school. Is there anybody here on that matter?
Yeah, I know Ellen Google was going to make a presentation, but I don't see her here. I mean, Kristen can explain where they were proposing, but this isn't a planning department project.
Well, it isn't.
Do we want to push this until the next meeting to allow for Ellen to present, or do we think we can make a decision now?
You can, I guess Kristen could give a brief overview, and then you could still allow her to present at the next meeting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's, I don't know.
She did, there was a presentation to the select board last week of this project as well.
What were the comments from the select board on this?
They had mostly comments, I'm trying to remember. I went to the school committee. The school committee had asked for the rapid flashing beacons to be installed in addition to that. The project is for 3 crosswalks, I think 2 to 3 crosswalks. They
For a cost of about $75,000.
Yes.
Right, the cost, they're estimating about 75,000,
Right,
but they
right.
didn't have quotes. They didn't have the actual quotes from a contractor on what that would actually cost. So we're
mean,
still
I-
missing a lot of information on it.
So where are these 3 crosswalks?
No, it's one crosswalk.
She just said 3.
No, it's multiple locations.
Ruggles at the back of the high school.
That's the only crosswalk.
That's the only one I see.
So there's,
That's the only one.
okay, I'm Kristen Belanger, Assistant Town Planner, and I'm the staff liaison for the ATSC. So there's 3 areas. So let's visualize the back entrance to the high school on Ruggles Street. There's a couple different driveways that we're dealing with. So the lower driveway, the one that's closest to West Main Street, if you were looking at Ruggles, the one on the left, there's a crosswalk.
Kristen, is that the one that connects to the parking for like the tennis court? Or the one that goes up and then around to the fields above?
No, the lower one.
That's the
That
one that
like
goes
runs
into
parallel
the.
to,
So if you were at the football field, like doing the parking, you
Street.
came in the front and you went along the left side of the school, and then you continued out the back.
Yeah.
Right. yeah,
That
one.
driveway.
That's where the parking lot.
And then there's another one next to it, right? That goes on the other side
Correct.
of the fields.
Right.
So the first one would have a crosswalk come across that driveway. Then you get over, there's like a 50 feet of sidewalk, and then you get to that other driveway,
Right.
which takes you to the parking for the baseball field.
Yeah.
And then there's another driveway that takes you along that upper
Right.
driveway that gets like up where the lacrosse field is.
Yeah.
So there's actually 3 sections that need to be connected along the back entrance of the high school. And right now, once you're past the first one, when you get to the second and third one, they're not, there's like a island
Yeah.
that kind of comes out and just spills out into the road. Like, as a pedestrian, you're kind of in no man's land. So this would connect, make one continuous crosswalk with like a cutout in that landscaped area, all the way till you get to the other end.
Got it.
And then the final crosswalk would go across Ruggles Street. So in that first driveway we talked about, if you took a left, right on that corner, it would cross over. So the people that are coming down Ruggles Street, the kids that are coming down Ruggles, could cross over and get to the high school. So let's see.
But Kristen, just sort of as a general question to you on, we have a couple of grants that we're working on in the town, and we have projects. One is the Complete Streets, and the other area is that, what's the major one called? Right, the Active Transportation Plan. My basic concern is the fact that there are many places in this town where we need crosswalks. And the plans that we're working on, the Complete Streets and the Active Transportation, one of the things they were doing, I think, was to figure out a priority as to where crosswalks went. I mean, for example, a crosswalk with lights down at on Milk Street to cross over to the I think it's the corner of Meadow and Milk, cross over there. I mean, is that a more important place than this is? And so it is difficult for me to make a decision as to what is a more important crosswalk until we have more information from these plans on which are supposed to be giving us some priority as to which plans we're supposed to be spending our money on.
I think, yeah, the impetus for the ATSC bringing this forward is that it was identified in the Complete Streets and in the Safe Routes to School Walk Audit. So since it was identified in both of those reports, they felt that made it a priority. So that was their recommendation. And since there's a sewer project going on Ruggles Street, this would be something that could happen along with that. That was the idea. On the end of that project, since they'd be making road improvements anyways, they could add this as one of the scope items for that.
Now, the sewer project is proposed, though, for this summer.
Right.
And then they still have to pave the road. And then, so according to the DPW, these crosswalks, if, they happen, wouldn't happen until summer of 2027. So they're still a ways out. And from at least my perspective in the planning department, I think that this is being rushed a little bit. I think we need a lot more information. I know there was an inquiry too about doing a safety zone or school zone in that area, which requires an engineering study. We have been working with the DPW and collaborating on different transportation projects in town. We're doing the active transportation plan. We definitely have a lot going on, and we want to identify, priority projects in different places. And so from my perspective as the planning director, I don't feel like this is the right time to move forward on something like this, but it's ultimately up to the board. I will say that we do want to see more crosswalks in town. Obviously, we encourage safe transportation. We hear a lot of inquiries about crosswalks in town, and they're very important. We just want to make sure that there's a procedure behind it that we follow, especially with the recent memorandum that the planning board agreed to with the select board and how projects get brought before you.
Yeah, I would say I am generally in favor of the idea I think crosswalks in that area would make a lot of sense, though I'm just looking at the design. And to be honest, I don't completely understand what they're looking to do at this point. But one of my thoughts is, would we be able to achieve, a couple thoughts. It looks like the sidewalk coming north on Ruggles ends at the driveway.
Yep.
And then there's about 10 to 20 feet before the sidewalk on the other side of Ruggles starts. And then there's no sidewalk going up that driveway to the high school, so they'd have to walk in the road. There is a driveway, or there's a sidewalk on the other driveway, not that parking area, I always forget about that parking area, but on the other driveway going to the tennis courts, there is a sidewalk. So would we achieve the same thing without the RFBs, the rapid flashing beacons, by just painting those intersections, kind of like how in cities they have the don't block the box painting, right? If you just painted those Rangers colors, and so it's a wide crosswalk on each of those intersections.
And we're saying crosswalk, but I think in this example, it's more of like a walkway, right? My understanding is that
That's
it's
what I don't
like
even
up
understand.
yeah.
Is it a walkway or is it a crosswalk? That's what I'm confused about.
I
and
think these are good points, though, and why a lot more evaluation is needed in that area to understand and get more input from the planning board and, anybody else, any other stakeholders on what it should look like.
Yeah. Like, can we achieve the same thing with paint rather than a beacon?
I mean, I guess what I would recommend is that we pass over this article, this particular.
Do we want to allow for Ellen to have a chance to present? I don't want it to look like we are,
Railroading it,
yeah.
yeah.
If there is if she has presentation materials that would convince us otherwise, I want to hear them.
I mean, that's up to the board. I mean, you
Yeah,
can let
I
her
mean,
have a
yes, I mean,
presentation. That's
if
our
the board-
background.
If the board would like to hear Ellen next month, we have the opportunity to do that. We could always make our recommendation, whatever it is, at the town meeting. No reason why we certainly can't move forward in that way. So why don't we just adjourn this until the March 3rd and ask Ellen whether she'd like to come and make her presentation at that time.
And yeah,
I am inclined, quite frankly, myself, to just, with the other things that we have going on, and from what I know Kristen is working on, to pass over this particular, because we don't have any facts and figures on costs, and I understand from, if you watch the presentation in front of the Board of Select, you'll see they're missing a lot of information.
So does it make sense to write a letter to the select board with these concerns and say, we didn't get a presentation, we're allowing for time for a presentation, however, up until that point, we're concerned about the cost, the design, the priority, or is that unnecessary? Because I'm just thinking, if the select board is the sponsor, right, because they're going to be the sponsor for the article, if the warrant closes on the 24th, that's going to be before we have our next meeting.
Yeah, but
So
we
if they
usually
want
don't,
to,
yeah.
but if they want to pull it, but they're saying,
They're
oh,
not
let's,
gonna, my understanding is they weren't gonna pull it, they were gonna pass over. It has a right to be on there. I mean, they can't, it's not up to the Board of Select to pull it.
yeah, if
Yeah,
they're
they
the
haven't
sponsor.
decided that, though. They have that, they have the option to do that, but they didn't decide that at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Right, because they're the sponsor, so they could pull it. So all I'm saying is, if they're waiting for the planning board to give them a recommendation to decide if they're going to pull it or not, and then we don't have a recommendation, but I guess
I
it's just
think
a lot
that's
of
a good-
unknowns.
Yeah, that's a good point, John, that if the warrant closes February 24th, maybe at least the planning board can ask for this additional information in a letter saying that what we didn't get a presentation, but what we know.
We won't have the additional information because we won't have a
Right,
presentation.
I guess
So
my point
what are you
is,
saying?
if
Have
the
it
select
closed?
board, and I don't know if the select board is doing this, but if the select
Yeah.
board is saying, we're waiting for the planning board to make a recommendation so that we know what to do moving forward, pull it off the warrant, or just pass over, or support it. If we send a letter saying, look, we haven't gotten the presentation, but this is how we're feeling right now, the select board might move to action on something. They might say, okay, that's good enough. Other than saying, but I don't know, maybe it just means nothing, and the select board's gonna say, well, let's wait until the planning board gets a presentation.
Yeah, but the thing is, at that point, then, I don't know,
Right.
they have a chance to make a decision.
Right, but what I'm saying is if the select board gets a letter before we have our next meeting that says, here are our concerns, and select board says, well, those are our concerns too, so now we have feedback from the board that they do have concerns,
And then they can make the decision.
then they can make the
prior to
decision, other than
February
saying, we're gonna
24th.
wait for the planning board.
Okay.
That's the only reason I would say do that, if the select board is waiting for something from us.
So do you want me to, I guess, up to the board to give me the authority to draft a letter? I'll
Yeah,
send it.
I would, do you want to vote? I would move that we authorize the chair to sign a letter communicating our concerns to the select board on this project.
There's
Good?
second.
Yeah, is that good?
Second.
Favor? Okay, Jenny, if you want to draft a letter, then I'll
Okay.
sign it on behalf of the board. Yeah, as I said, my concern has been that A, we don't have the information we would need on this, and B, I think we really have to look at this in terms of other crosswalks in town and things that are being done through the active transportation and through the complete streets.
Yeah, and I'll just add again, from our perspective, this might be a great project. It's just, we don't have enough information about it to make that decision. I think we need a lot more research done. And the timing, we still have plenty of time. If the DPW is not planning to even make those improvements or pave the road until next year, we have,
really
if
doesn't,
additional
yeah.
funding is needed, then we have the potential to go to town meeting. We have two more town meetings in between those times.
You know, and I mean, let's face it, the town meeting that's coming up is going to be looking a lot at the town budget, and, you know, $75,000 is a guesstimate at this point, and it's a lot of money. I mean, it may seem like a small amount, but if you add it to all, if you have all these other little projects, if you add them together, this is what's driving our taxes and the amount of money we're having to spend. So, you know, you have to look at it from a cost benefit also. Okay. Jenny, do you have any other updates?
I think I gave the same update at the last planning board meeting, but the Otis Street corridor project, we've been, working on getting those easements finalized. Hopefully, we'll be able to get them executed by the select board, at least a majority, at their first March meeting on 66 Otis Street that I brought to the board the last time. He did respond.
He did.
He did. So he said that he would work on the easement agreement, but I still don't have anything in hand, so
But he seems to be moving. He's agreeable to finally doing what he's supposed to be doing.
yes, hopefully.
It's staying on the agenda, though.
What?
It's staying on the agenda, though.
Yes, I would like
That
to
easement
keep
in
it there until we have the easement in hand. That project, the bid should be awarded within the next couple of weeks, and then hopefully we'll be able to start construction in late spring, early summer. And then the active transportation plan, that did go out for bid. I believe bids are due the last week of February, so we've had a few questions come in, so I think we'll have a healthy amount of respondents to that, so we're excited to see that. And then the downtown project, the Rotary project, not the zoning. We're working on scheduling a public meeting to talk more about what changes have been made based on comments and present kind of the version, I don't want to say the final plan because it's still a preliminary design, but what has come out of all of the public feedback and what has been added in and based on comments from the planning board and the public and all of that. So we're working on scheduling that. I should have a date before the next planning board meeting for when that is.
All right, reports of board members on town committees and CMRPC. There was a design review meeting. I did not go, but it was on the change in to amend the zoning law in the downtown business area, and you saw the head of design review support that. And Jenny, I know, gave the presentation that she'd been giving on the downtown area. And I think that was the only thing on the agenda.
We have not had any. Actually, I take that back. We did have a capital planning expenditures meeting where there were some revised capital expenses from the school, from the police, one more, but it was basically reducing their requests. So,
Great.
good.
Good to hear.
Except for, actually, sorry, the other one was accounting, and they are raising their request, but not compensating for the amount that was reduced on the other.
They were only open 4 days a week, weren't they, accounting? And was this an increase in staffing?
No, it's for a chart of accounts, which is like a whole financial bookkeeping system, I understand.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the increase was to loop in, I think, other departments into that.
Minutes, John?
We
I'm
had,
sorry, were there any other town committees?
Nope.
I have one. The Sustainable Westborough Committee has a warrant, I think it's 27 at the moment, for the specialized energy code coming up for town meeting, but they are holding like a public info session for members of the public that are interested, and that is Thursday, so in 2 days. It is here in this room, but also remote on Zoom. So it's posted on Facebook and on all the town sites as well. I think it's on the Sustainable Westborough site online as well to access it. So if anyone is curious about it, it will be for town meeting for a vote. So.
And they're coming to this
And they
board
are
on the
coming.
3rd,
On March 3rd.
Yes, yes. So that's another opportunity to hear more about it as well.
Minutes, John?
we have minutes from February 3rd. Everyone have a chance to review them? Any edits, comments? Can I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
All in favor? 4 to nothing.
Upcoming meeting dates on March 3rd and March 17th, both of which are before the town meeting.
I will not be able to attend the 17th.
Anything else anybody'd like to bring before the board this evening? If not, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Do you need this?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.